Do not put level flashings on top of your doors and windows.
Hi everybody, I'm Jack with Housemasters Carpentry. In this video we're diving into what it really takes to properly weatherproof an exterior door or window. When I cut back the siding to upgrade this trim, I uncovered some clear signs of water damage, proof that the original install didn't hold up, and that's exactly what we're going to break down. I'll show you where things went wrong and, more importantly, how to do it right, from back priming and flashing to proper caulking and layering your weatherproofing membranes so that the water stays out for good. If you want your door or window installed to last, this is the stuff that matters.
I want to show you guys something really important. Whoever, painters, homeowners, whatever, you don't never caulk the top of your flashing to the siding, especially when it's a vertical siding like this. Picture this, you're having this flashing up there and you can't caulk back and behind it because it's bent up in place like it was before I pulled it down flat like it is now. You can't caulk back in here to seal it up. It's only on the face. Water comes down between these grooves here, and there's plenty of them in this vertical siding. Actually, whether it's vertical siding, shingles, even regular horizontal siding, do not caulk your flashings to the siding at the head of the door. Anyway, back of this, you're going to see that this siding right here is already suffering for it. There's like some nearly rotted, well, it's actually got some stability to it, but it's in really bad shape though. Should not be done like that. And here's another example, prime example right here. Look at this black, that's mildew growing in behind the siding because the water would be hitting the, go in between the joints here, hit this flashing because the flashing set level, it should be set at a slope also. So whatever gets in these joints has no reason but to come back out. No caulk and a slope on the top of the flashing. Do not put level flashings on top of your doors and windows. Level across this way, yes, but have it pitched. So when the rain hits it, it comes off. It has no choice but to go off rather than just hitting a level. You know, water seeks its own level. It'll hit this flashing if it's level in both directions, and it'll go this way or that way until it decides to go to the end of the flashing and drop off, critical here, behind the siding. And that's what's, your flashing's supposed to protect your framing, your siding's supposed to protect your framing, and if it gets behind the siding, all of this is worth nothing. So you really got to watch these areas how they're done. Maintain them properly. Well, don't caulk them is how you maintain them properly. Now you would think with all the rain, if that flashing's doing its job proper, this is saturated. This is like as wet as can be. Not the way it's supposed to be done. This here is a very good example. This part of the side, you can even see the discoloration where this is somewhat dry down here, but this is, it's a lot wetter than what it should be. This is probably the best thing that's happened to this door is having this trim redone to see that how the flashing's done, etc. So I'm going to do like I do other doors, and you'll see that later on. They actually added this door in later. They cut that side to put that brick mold around the original door. That's a telltale sign right there.
I'm going to apologize ahead of time because for somehow or another I completely omitted the step on applying the peel and stick. It is a 3-inch wide peel and stick to bond to the edge of the door jamb, leaving enough exposed so when the trim is applied, the peel and stick is not showing itself beyond the trim, but yet it's well applied to the framing of the building, so it does the weatherproofing like it's supposed to, draft resistance, what have you.
Like I had mentioned before, back prime your stuff. It's really important. It'll make your wood last so much longer on the outside. Really important. I told you before about the splits that you see on the bottom of your trim. If you look around the outside, you got wood trim. Watch out for them little teensy hairline cracks at the bottom, because that's the beginning of your paint failure. Paint failure, water gets in, swells wood, makes it worse. When installing a door, this is your most important step, your head flashing. Well, as far as that goes, a window too, if it's exposed to the weather like this one is right here. If it's under an overhang, a large overhang, you really don't need any flashings, but in this case, with a door on this kind of exposure, it needs a head flashing. These are the kinds that I recommend. It's made to fit the top of the brick mold, or the molding around the doors, 1 of an inch offset from this face to this face. Most importantly, it's bent so it has a slope here. It is not bent 90. I've seen too many flashings go in bent at a 90 where when the water hits the top of this, it can go left or right because it's level and it doesn't have any reason to shed out this way. That's the other thing why I choose this, because this will let the water shed out this way. If I have only access to the 90-degree bend stuff, I bend it so it is at a slope like this. The next trick on this, because this is a retro and it's not a new install, new installs is a lot easier. I need to make some notches in the siding here about 1/4 of an inch past so I can slide this in, and I'll show you the reason why that is later on in the video. Before I back prime these notches here, I'm going to test fit this in on the far side. I'm a little curious whether that's going to work or not. Also, to make this even better, I'm going to round this off a little. No consequence to how this will work, but it'll make it slide in a lot easier without having this sharp corner trying to dig into stuff. I'm going to do it on both sides because I got to push it in one way extra far and then bring it back. That worked out well. Time to prime it. Well, I'm going to check to see if my headpiece is going to fit in here proper. Another important step. This is something that's shorter that'll let me know what I got. Because I got to have that 1/2 of an inch here for my reveal. I got to doctor this a little bit. I'm going to take the finished piece and cut that in. Okay. That's got what I need right there. Nice when it stays up there all by itself without no fasteners. But I got my 1/2 of an inch here, like I'll have my 1/2 of an inch there. Now before I commit this piece and prime it up and set it in place, I'm going to double check that when I get my 1/2 inch here, that this will be flush. Right now, it's a little long. Same thing on the other side. Check this side too. This side's good and flush. I need to cut this one off just the teensiest little bit. Not even an 1/8. And then I can prime it up. Now remember, when I took this apart, both of these corners were really wet. Not a good thing. So I'm going to do everything I can to keep that water from getting into these corners again. That's all good and primed. I'm going to let this dry for a while so it gets a chance, so when I do my next step, the wet caulk won't interfere with my next step. So I'll be back to this in a little bit. All right, the primer's been drying for about a couple of hours now. I know it's a water-based primer, dries real fast. So now I'm going to go ahead and start the process of getting this thing tucked in with the flashing so it's not going to make those wet spots like it did beforehand. Oh, let me show you what I got first. I did not do this on camera, so you've seen while I had the flashing up there temporarily, but I put these notches in here and primed them up 100%. That one over there and that one over there. So that's the first thing that's important to get when you're doing flashing, to get those in there. The second thing is to spot some caulk. Again, a high-end caulk, just in that corner only, like that, and like that also. Get that in there. Now with that, again, I rounded the corners of my flash to make it easy to slide up in there. This side's made to go a little bit deeper so I can push it in there. See how that caulk nested around that flashing there? Now I'm going to go ahead and send this up on this side. And I'm going to send it back a little bit. I won't be able to do it with the camera in hand, but I'm going to send it back that way 1/4 of an inch. So this is hanging over 1/4 on this cut, and it's hanging over 1/4 past this cut as well. And that's going to serve a purpose. Okay, now I've moved it over that 1/4 inch that I was looking at. I got a 1/4 inch over here and a 1/4 inch over there, and it's all bedded in nicely in caulk. Now I can slip this headpiece in, but I'm going to bed this in caulk. I'm going to catch that inside corner, catch that horizontal joint there, and catch this inside corner and that horizontal joint there. Now this is already bridging this over top of here. Should anything decide to get past any of this, there's no holes there. It can't. It just simply can't. But this is here to do what it's supposed to do, which is draft preventative, things like that. So now, I can tuck this piece in place and it'll be bedded in that caulk on the ends. And you can see it's coming down. I think you can see it. If not, you ought to be able to see it on this side where that caulk is coming down. And I got a little 1/16 of an inch gap to the finish there, and about the same over here. And I got my 1/2 inch here, nice and clean, and nail it in. And nail it into the jamb. Now I'm ready for the side legs. I'll do the same thing. I'll pre-caulk the inside and bed it in place. That'll finish off this joint from the V-core to the side. Now I'll smear it in here so that literally is connected from the siding here to that V-core. Nothing can get in there after that. All right, where that V-core was not meeting the siding, I'm smoothing this out to get it flat enough to work it in that corner and finish bridging that joint. So now I got that nice tight bond between all those surfaces now. And I was showing the homeowner about this thing right here. This siding, the subsiding, is out about 1/4 of an inch in front of the finish of the jamb here, where it's flush at the bottom, flush at the top. So I made a cut in the back side to get past that, so this still meets the jamb real well. I have my primer at the bottom still. I have all that's there. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and prime this too. I forgot about that. All right, here's the last thing, and I wanted to show you about the reason why that's 1/4 of an inch over top of that. See, that's all caulked in. The water that hits here has to stop there and turn out. The top of the sill is sloped, so that's already blocked off. But any water that comes around, usually there's other types of flashing or other circumstances that you'll want to do this. Put this caulk up in there, and that 1/4 of an inch allows you to start your caulk without the water having a chance to get behind it should that flashing be set even with the piece. See that rainwater will never get behind that caulk at the top because it's protected by that 1/4 extension. Well, folks, that's got this door install done. Hey, if this is something you managed to pick up a point or two on, like the flashing detail where I have that extended that 1/4 inch, also caulking them inside corners, there's a few pointers that I'm hoping that you picked up along the way. And if you did, hit that like and subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you much, guys. See you. Until then, bye-bye. This is how we're doing. And this is how we're going to do this. And come along for the ride. And come along for the ride. And come along for the ride. And anyway, yeah.